Hello everyone, today we're here with Ramel Hanoush and he's going to talk to you a little bit about the process of sizing a ring. He does his own in-house repairs here at Hanoush Jewelers in Winston-Salem, conveniently located at Three Way Shopping Center.
Alright, we're working on a diamond solitaire here. I have a lot of people that ask me, well, how do you size a ring? How do you size a ring? So I figured I might as well do a video and show you. Basically, this ring has to be, I do believe, 3 3/4. Right now it's a size 6. I don't know if you can see that. And these notches, this is like 6 1/2, and then go, or 6 1/4, 6 1/2, 6 3/4, and we can do quarter sizes here. So this one we are gonna have to take 1, 2 1/4 sizes down. So we're gonna get started on it, and what we have to do first is measure how much gold we need to take off before we cut. Since we're gonna go to 2 1/4 sizes, what you do is you have this special tool, and if you're going to take off one size, you basically measure from 1 to 2. This is like if you're taking it down one size, and if you're taking it down to 2 sizes, you go 1 to 3. So you go 1 2, and that's taking it down. But we're going to do 2 1/4. So I like to do it just a little bit like that, maybe a little bit less, because when I do cut the ring, I need some room to make sure that I file it and make sure that they're flush together before I do any soldering. So what I do is I grab the ring and I get as close to the middle as possible at the bottom, and I mark the ring. And you can see the marks, and I grab my saw and where I marked, I start cutting. I don't know if you can see that better or not. Now I know some jewelers, what they like to do is lay the ring like that, flat, and cut. Just whatever's comfortable. Everybody has a different way of working. There. So the ring is cut, and what I do now is I grab a file and make sure to straighten out the cut. And now what I do is I bend the ring slowly. And I give it a squeeze, and it's pretty flush. It's pretty flush. You want to get a nice tight seam. Try and get it as straight as possible, and that way when you're shaping the ring you're not taking too much and it doesn't thin out. So the closer you get it, the better it is at the end. You get a better job, better finish. There. Now, what I like to do to get it really tight, I hold the ring flat and I do one thin cut. There you go. It's perfect. All right. So now we go to the solder, and there's different hardness of gold, and when you're sizing a ring you got to use the hard solder. That's the strongest. It takes a higher temperature to melt as well. You have hard, you have easy. Usually you use the easy gold solder for soldering chains and thin jewelry. And of course you get white, yellow, and rose gold, of course. Anyways, what I like to do is cut a piece of gold. And my preference is I like to put that solder in between the seams and spread out the ring a little bit. I just feel it bonds better. It all melts together. Just like that. And then you can push it in. The other thing I like to do is, some guys like to hold the ring like that and heat it and let the solder melt. I put a couple of grooves here. I don't know if you see them or not, but what I like to do always, I just want a tight seam. So I always like to keep a bit of pressure. And this is flux that I use, so it doesn't change the color of the gold. It turns it black if you don't use flux. And of course it cleans, so the gold flows better. So,
and also before you ever do any repairs, you make sure the jewelry is like 100% clean, free of all dirt, so that it doesn't have any bubbles or anything like that once the heat touches it.
Now what's important is to set the flame. I don't know if you can see this or not. You don't want it to be too strong of a flame like that, because that could cause the solder to pit and then you have pitting. So what you want is just a nice blue medium size flame coming out. And I always like to start with the tweezers because you're usually the coolest, and you want to warm them up. You want the heat to be even, as close as possible. Just keep going around. So now we heat up the ring, and you'll notice the solder there.
Just melted right in.
And I always like to check underneath, and you want to make sure that the gold is all, see how the gold is all inside. That means it's all got hot enough where it's all bonded to one. So now we have to wait until the ring cools down before we start polishing or sanding and shaping the ring again.